Hello, this is a very high overview of how PayslipMaker works. Once you've installed PayslipMaker on your system and you open it, this is the first screen that you're going to see. The default login is admin and letter A. The letter A can be uppercase or lowercase. Once you log in, you go into the home screen. Now, on the extreme left, you have the links to put in your employee and organization information. The next column is where you put in, let me say, the payroll related information, the monthly payroll information. This third column has what we call modules, which enable you to do some tasks that are related to the payroll but need a little bit extra, what word can I say? A little bit extra computations to be done for you to make your life a little easier. On the extreme right is administrative functions. The most important here are the backup and the restore in the event that something happens to your data. Now I'm going to show you very briefly how to put in the minimum information for employees, how to put in salaries, and how to generate your payslips and other reports, and how to make a backup. That's all I'm going to show you in this video. So when you click on the employee list, the minimum information for an employee is first name and last name. So if I just put in 3 sample employees, as you can see, it's as easy as typing into a spreadsheet. That's the minimum that you require, first name and last name. Other information you can come back and edit later. Now, all the information that has to do with employees is handled on the employee list and on the employee record. If I just show you, when you double click on the employee ID, this is the complete employee record. You can come in and add all this other information. But for now, that's not what we're going to do. So now we have our 3 employees. We go to our first month. If we assume that May 2019 is our first month of salaries, we come in, and one by one, we put in their salaries. I'll explain all this later. So you John Kamau, 80,000, and Wilson Rotich, 60,000. Okay, so we've put in the basic salary for all these individuals. We are ready to process the payroll. When you click here, process payslips, the system confirms that you want to proceed. You say yes. It does its calculations, and you can see at the bottom some queries are being run. And once it completes, it says the process is completed successfully. You say okay. It looks like there's no change. However, if you were to tick this display complete payslips checkbox here, you'll see that whereas we had 3 entries before, now we have 48. Because for Jane Otieno, from her basic salary, all this information up to here has been calculated. Basically, this is her complete payslip. As you can see, all the calculations are done on a very basic payslip. And if we scroll down, you'll see John Kamau is there with all his information. That's John Kamau. And then at the bottom, you have Wilson Rotich. Okay? Now, generally, we like to operate from this clean screen. Now, once you've done your processing, all the reports that you need for your payroll are listed in this long list here called the payroll reports list. I'll show you just the basic reports so that you can see how they open. So for instance, when you're ready to generate payslips, if you print them, you would probably choose this 2 per page format. So the 2 employees are listed on a page. You would print it on an ordinary A4 and split it down the middle. And you can manually deliver it to the employees. So if we, at the bottom here, click to the page 2, so you can see we have our 3 employees. This system allows you to send payslips by email. I'll show you how to do that in a separate tutorial. And then you have some summary reports. The most commonly used one is this fixed and variable. It basically lists your employees. It indicates their pay, benefits, allowances, statutory deductions, total voluntary deductions, and the net pay. Now this report, as you can see, if you had, for instance, several different fixed pays per employee, it would all be grossed up here. So if you wanted to see further detail, if I leave the payroll summary open, this report is usually used side by side with this payroll details report, which now breaks down your, if for instance, Jenny Otieno had several different salary items, she would be listed here. And in fact, I want to show you that as an example, because it will show you something important about the next thing in the payroll. Now, when you look at this list of what is available to put into the payslip, you only have basic salary. These items you see here with calculated are not used for inputting information. They are used for importing from these modules that I mentioned initially. So this particular payroll only has basic salary as an entry. Now, your organization obviously, or most likely, will have more items. So you go to this second thing on the homepage, which we call pay types, which has now on the extreme left, it shows the unused pay types, which you only activate if they are relevant for your business. This is now the customization element of the software. When you pick an item from here and set it as fixed or variable, it will come into this fixed and variable pay types. On the extreme right, it only shows computed pay types, and that would be most relevant. These are pay classes up here, which are the consolidated groupings of these pay types. So for instance, what we are looking at here is cash pay. All these are potential names of a way of describing cash that you're paying to your employees. So you have benefits, tax allowed elements, the taxations, reliefs, government deductions, the voluntary deductions, etc. Now, if I take, for instance, government deductions, a good example to show you that the payee, NSSF, NHIF, and housing fund are all items that are computed automatically. That's why they appear on the extreme left. So if we go back to cash pay, and you want to add an item that was not there initially, say for instance, you pay commissions in your organization, you will highlight it, and then you click fixed. It jumps here into the fixed and variable types. Okay, let's assume for this example, commission is a fixed amount that you give every month. If we now take a bonus and set it as variable, you can see in brackets it tells you whether it is a fixed or a variable. Fixed items are copied every month, including the amount. The same amount is copied to each month, and you can edit it as you go. Variable amounts, once you put it in a month's payroll, when you go to the next month and copy the previous month, which you're going to see, it does not come forward to the new month. It assumes that that amount was only supposed to be in that previous month, but it will bring forward the line with a zero value, and you can decide whether you want to use it or not. Now I'm going to also add a voluntary deduction. Say we are contributing cooperative shares, and let's say that's fixed. So that's basically how you do customization. Let's say you have a unique, well, not unique, but something that is not listed in the examples up here, and you wanted to include some type of voluntary deduction. If you double click on the item, one of these what are being called custom deduction, you can come here and change it to, let's say you give people lunch recovery. Let's say you feed people and you usually recover the amount through salaries. So you want to give a short name which will appear in reports that don't have a lot of room, and you want to give a nice descriptive name. Now when you save that, you can see the name has changed, but it has not yet moved into here. So assuming it's a fixed amount, again you would click fixed. Now when we go back to Payslips, you'll see that whereas we only had basic salary before, now you have commission, bonus, go down, cooperative shares, and lunch recovery in addition to the calculators that were there before. So let's say now we want to add for Jane Otieno a commission. Let's say she earned a commission of 10,000 bucks. And Jane has yet another item. She's got a bonus of say 5,000 bucks. You'll notice that to add, you simply go lower and lower. Now you're not trying to insert as the way you would do in a spreadsheet. You actually come to the very bottom and you choose whoever it is you want to add for. So let's take Jane again. Now we want to give her a voluntary deduction. Let's say she's contributing 4,500 to the cooperative. And let's say the lunch recovery is each month, let's say 50 bob, maybe 1,500 per month. Okay, so you can see Jane now, one entry is up here and the other entries are down here. That will become more organized once you do your processing or you move to another month. Okay, now I'm not going to add anything for anybody else. If we click process, because we've now made a change to the information in the payroll. Now you process every time so that the calculations that are done, the payee, NHIF, etc., will be updated to include whatever change that you've made. So you can see now Jane is all together. And if you go here, remember we had 48 entries before. Now we have 54 because we added a bunch of other things. Oh, you'll ask why it's not just the items we added. I think it is because, well, let's not go into that detail for now. So if we go back to the payroll summary, fixed and variable, you'll now see Jane Otieno has 110. Now that 110, what is it made up of? You would open the summary and you'd open this. Now you can see the total of cash is 255,000. You go to the payroll summary, total cash is 255,000. If you want to see the makeup, here you can only see that it is fixed pay and variable pay, but when you go to the details, it will tell you there is basic salary, there is bonus, there is commission coming up to the 115 fixed pay, which is no, one of them is variable. 110 is that, and the bonus is the variable. So you can see the entries are all sitting up there. If you go to the voluntary deductions, you have 6,000 here. And if you go to have voluntary deductions on the detail, that's government, the voluntary deductions are here. You can see that it is made up of these entries, including a rounding element, which you can decide to switch off if you would like to. So that is the payroll summary and the payroll details report and how to add pay types. And then the other thing that I'll show you in this demo is the statutory deductions. This is the format that you would use to upload NHIF to the web to make your return on the NHIF website. So what you do is export it to Excel. Once it's in Excel, that format is okay and it can be uploaded directly. I won't show you that right now. NSSF, same thing. There was the old format which we're not using anymore. There was the tiered format which was introduced and seems to have been superseded. Right now, we're using the SF24. If there was a voluntary amount, these amounts would be showing. Otherwise, if you export to Excel and use this to import into the NSSF website, it will work as required. And then, of course, you have your PAYE, and you want to be able to generate from your software all the columns required and the data posted into the correct column to be imported into the KRA spreadsheet so that you can create the format for uploading to iTax. And that's what this would do. You would export it to Excel, save it as a CSV, import it into the spreadsheet from KRA, generate the tax return format, and then upload it. Again, that can be demonstrated later. There's other reports here. If you want to pay people by bank, there's that report. If you want to pay by cash, there are other reports here. The help reports are there, pension reports are there, accounting journals are there, and your year-end reports are also there. So all that is to show you that the payroll goes, add employees, finish with that, come to Payslips, put in the salary information, process, and get your reports. Now when you go to the next month, you're not going to put in all the information again. You'll just come here and say, copy previous month. It confirms. It brings in all the fixed amounts exactly as they were. The variable comes in as a line with 0. You can decide if a bonus is still being paid, or if you want to delete 0 amounts, you can click this little button up here. It will delete all zeros. If somebody's salary has changed, you can come here, say for instance, John Kamau. We can change him to 85,000. We can change Wilson Rotich to 70,000. And when you copy previous month, there are no calculations that have been done. Even when you click display payslips, no change in the number of rows that you see. Only after processing will it now calculate everything that you require for your payslips. Again, you can see here the line count is 7. If we display complete payslips for June, it comes to 54. All right, so I've shown you also how to create your next month. And if you went to July, same thing, just copy previous month. It always copies exactly what was there before. There's more details to how it works. If you come to calc rules, if somebody is not supposed to be deducted NSSF or NHIF or PAYE, or you're meant to deduct income tax at 30%, all those things would be set here. And this goes month to month. Every month you can have a different setting. Okay, usually what would happen is you do a setting and it would go until the day it changes, then you change it, and then again it's copied like that. Auto transactions allows you to have a calculation of an entry in the payroll that is dependent on another thing, like pension. Pension would be calculated, say, at 6% of basic pay. You'd be able to set it in auto transaction. Rates shows you the rates that are currently active. Now, for items that have a table ID, you would click Open Table in order to be able to see the rate table. If you click this drop down, you can see there was the previous NHIF table, which was activated in 1990, and then you have the NHIF table that was activated in 2015. So when you've indicated what the table ID is, that's when the software knows what table to use to do your calculations. If you take, for instance, NSSF, many people are still using the old 200 shilling rate, but some people are using the new 6% tiered rate. You would be able to change it here. So for instance, if you are using that, you would come here and say 2013 and set this table for May. And you close and you can see it has changed from 1987 to 2013. Now you would need to go to the payroll or payslips and process, and it would recalculate using these rates. Let me just keep it back to 1987 because most people are still using the old rates. PAYE is the same. This is the 2018 rates. That's the latest one. Nothing was changed in 2019. The previous change was 2017, and previous to that was 2004, and previous to that was 2002. And there were other changes before that, but it was not. My payroll was not active by that time. So right now we are on 2018. Those are the rates that are being used. The other things like personal relief is just an amount. The rate is indicated here. The pay type, which are the amount, the figures in red are what pay element or which calculation is being used to do the calculation of the statutory deduction. So for instance, NSSF is on fixed emoluments, which is that 197. and PAYE and NHIF and housing fund are all on gross salary, which is what this is. These are the things. Many people don't use them, but they're there in this payroll, and even these other items down here. Let me not go into too much detail on that. So that is a very high level overview of how the payroll works. Put in employees, come to your payslips, process your payroll, and you have your reports. At the end of each month, you want to make a backup, you click here. Making a backup is just click here. And it says copy paste complete because it is copying your data file. So it copies your data file, which is called PMDB, with your company name. So it makes two copies. One is just PMDB with your company name, and the other one is PMDB with your company name and the date and time of the backup. And it saves them by default on your drive C, but you can change that. You can change that to and it always logs you out when you make your backup. You could change this, for instance, to an online folder, so that every time you make your backup, it goes straight to the web, and you always know that you have a backup available. And of course, there is a restore function. If you wanted to restore that data, you would just come here, look for your file, and you'd be able to restore it and proceed from there. So that's a very high level overview of PayslipMaker. If you have any questions, please call or email me. Thank you very much.